Alex Rodriguez stood in the kitchen of his modest Atlanta apartment, the aroma of freshly brewed coffee wrapping around him like a warm hug. Sunlight spilled through the blinds, illuminating the cherished family photos lining the walls, a reminder of where he had come from. In those pictures, he saw his parents, proud after immigrating to the U.S., their eyes filled with hope for a better future. As he flipped pancakes, memories flooded back. He was that kid in school who was relentlessly bullied for his accent, for the way his name rolled off his tongue. "You'll never make it in this world," they'd mock. But he had risen above it all, driven by the belief that he could not only carve a place for himself but could also pave the way for others. In the living room, his younger sister, Marisol, rushed through her morning routine. "Will you help me with my school project later?" she called, her voice laced with excitement. "Of course. Just bring me the poster board when you're done," he replied, forcing a smile despite the weight on his chest. Bills piled up, and behind the scenes, the ceaseless struggle to balance being a Latino entrepreneur in a cutthroat tech industry loomed over him. Just stay strong, he reminded himself. He had dreams of launching a platform that would connect diverse talents with major firms, a project that screamed hope in a world choked with cynicism. He inhaled deeply, determined to fight for that dream, whatever it took. The boardroom buzzed with nervous energy, filled with the city's elite, but all eyes fell on Alex. He sensed the tension hanging like a thick fog. Today was crucial. He glanced across the table at Jack Thompson, the CEO draped in designer suits, his smirk sliding into a sneer as he scanned Alex. "Let's welcome our next presenter, Alex Rodriguez," Jack announced, feigning enthusiasm. "A real rising star in the community." Alex stood upright, his pulse racing. "Thank you, everyone." He cleared his throat, presenting his vision for a new project aimed at elevating diversity in tech, his heart pounding against the beats of doubt lodged in his throat. This initiative will not only help increase diversity but will create opportunity for... Suddenly, the cacophony of shouting erupted outside. The voice of a black man resonated against the concrete. "I didn't do anything. Let me go." Alex's heart sank as he recognized the voice of his colleague, Malik. He halted mid-sentence, his instincts screaming for action. He turned toward the window, his breath hitching at the sight of police officers wrestling Malik to the ground, brutal under the shining sun. "Alex, stay focused," Jack hissed, his eyes narrow with disdain. "This isn't your fight." But it was. Alex's focus shifted. He stormed outside, fueling a rush of adrenaline as he confronted the officers. "What's happening? He hasn't done anything wrong. Get back!" one of the officers shouted, shoving him aside. As chaos engulfed the scene, Alex felt the weight of Jack's glare burning into him. "See," Jack smirked, strolling toward Alex. "You're putting the company at risk, stirring unnecessary trouble. This facade of heroism is reckless. Alex, focus on what matters." With every mocking word, Alex's anger boiled as he was humiliated in front of the board members. Jack was framing him as the villain while solidifying his own control over the project, and that realization struck Alex like ice-cold water. This was about more than just the project. It was a vicious battle for his identity and future. Alex stood at the edge of the chaos, fists clenched as he faced the officers. "He's innocent. You can't just treat people like this." The visceral reality of police brutality was all too familiar, and in that moment, Alex felt the echoes of his past resonate in his bones. Just as he thought he could make a difference, Jack stealthily pulled him aside, masking the malice with false concern. "You need to stop this, Alex," Jack said, lowering his voice. "What you're doing is going to cause a major rift in the company. You're more focused on your personal agenda than your responsibilities." "Personal agenda? This is justice." Alex seethed, pushing back against Jack's condescending tone. Jack shook his head, taking a step closer, his voice smooth like silk. "No one wants to be associated with someone causing a scene. Think strategically." A knot twisted in Alex's gut as he realized Jack was using the situation to his advantage. The subtle sabotage unfolded around him. Jack slid back into the boardroom, reasserting dominance as the officers dragged Malik away, watching Alex fall from grace amidst the chaos. With the board members watching, Jack seized the moment. "Considering recent events, I propose Alex step back from this project," Jack announced, and the room echoed with nods of compliance. "We need someone who can keep up appearances, not one who creates public disturbances." A rush of disbelief surged through Alex. This was the betrayal he'd never seen coming. Jack was steering this ship, tossing him overboard while the crew cheered. The fire inside him ignited into a blaze of rage, illuminating the injustices that had shackled him for too long. In that moment, he realized Jack was hanging on to systemic racism, wielding it like a weapon. It was not just a battle for a project. It was a war on every level of existence he had fought to build. The stakes were higher, and the truth, he vowed, would not remain buried. Alex staggered into his apartment, the crushing weight of defeat heavy on his shoulders. He dropped his briefcase by the door, the sound echoing in the now silent space. The vibrant laughter of his family felt like a distant memory, replaced by the oppressive stillness that filled the air. Sinking onto the worn couch, he let his head fall into his hands, fingers raking through his hair, desperately searching for an escape from the turmoil in his mind. The walls were adorned with framed memories, snapshots of a family who had sacrificed everything to uplift him. His mother's smile, beaming with pride. His father's strong, reassuring grip. Marisol's childhood innocence, all froze in time, mocking him. "What happened today?" he whispered to the empty room, feeling the sting of shame that clung to his skin. "Did I let you all down?" His thoughts spiraled back to Jack's betrayal, the smooth words that cut deeper than any knife. "You'll ruin everything," he echoed, the contempt heavy in his chest. The weight of systemic racism spooled around him, suffocating and relentless. Alex felt not just the pain of losing a project, but the knowledge that in the eyes of the world, he might forever be the man who caused trouble. But in the darkness, a flicker of resolve sparked. "I won't let Jack define my future," he murmured, standing tall. Fueled by righteous anger, he reached for his phone. "I need to talk to Lena," he said, a fire igniting in his heart. At the community event, the air buzzed with a familiar warmth and urgency. Alex spotted Lena, her fierce spirit a beacon amidst the crowd. He approached her, urgency lacing his every word. "Jack's got a plan to silence anyone who challenges him. We need to act before it's too late." Lena's brow furrowed with concern as they moved away from the chatter. "He's been exploiting the system for too long. I've heard stories from others. He's like a ghost haunting this community," she shared, her voice low. "They fear him, but together we can expose him." Nodding earnestly, Alex leaned in. "I found some evidence, emails, documents. This man is a predator hiding behind his suit and charm." Anger surged through him as he revealed all he had uncovered during sleepless nights of research, the pages filled with stories of those Jack had crushed beneath his heel. "Every minute we waste gives him more power," Lena asserted. "We need to gather allies, those who have suffered at his hands, and we can't be scared." They shared their fears, but desperation transformed them into a shared strength, each story illuminating the darkness that Jack had cast over so many lives. With renewed determination, Alex vowed, "I'll document everything we find. This time, it's not just my fight. We're bringing justice to light." Building a coalition as the meeting progressed, Alex gathered a group of former employees, each one scarred by their encounters with Jack's ruthless disregard. The tension in the room felt electric, filled with untold stories of hurt, discrimination, and betrayal. Each person stood as a testament to resilience, sharing anecdotes that revealed a tapestry of oppression woven through Jack's empire. "I lost my job because I spoke up about the racism in our workplace," one of them revealed, fists clenched in anger. "They didn't just silence me, they silenced my family." Alex felt a knot tighten in his throat as he listened. "He did the same to me," another voice chimed in, eyes shining with held-back fury. "And he will keep doing it until we stop him. Together, we are stronger," Alex urged, feeling the collective pain morph into a palpable force. The energies shifted, their pain transforming into a unified purpose. "We won't let fear keep us silent anymore. Let's prepare to show the world what Jack truly represents." One of the members, a woman with tear-stained cheeks, spoke up. "And when he comes for us, we'll be ready. This is our moment to take back what he's stolen." As their voices swelled in a crescendo, Alex felt a surge of hope, electrifying and ready to burn brighter than the shadows that had kept them down. For the first time, solidarity coursed through their veins, and each individual story interlaced with the next, weaving a powerful narrative of justice in the making. With every word exchanged, the way forward morphed into a battle cry. They were ready to confront the man who had taken so much from them. Unbeknownst to them, Jack watched from a distance, fueled by an arrogance that would seal his own downfall. Late into the night, the flickering screen illuminated Alex's face as he and Lena sifted through stacks of archived documents, desperate to unearth something, anything, that could expose Jack's corrupt empire. Each folder felt like another layer of grime they were scraping away. "Look at this one," Lena said, her voice low, excitement bubbling beneath the surface. "It's an old employee case. Bet Jack thought he buried it." She slid a file towards Alex, her eyes gleaming with determination. As he opened the folder, a chill clutched at his heart. The words rolled off the pages, recounting the harrowing story of a whistleblower silenced too soon. Isaiah Williams, he read aloud, heart racing. He was fired after reporting harassment. Then he died in a car accident? What a coincidence! Lena scoffed, her jaw tightening. It's suspicious as hell. This could be the first nail in Jack's coffin. Alex continued to pore over the pages, his gut twisting. The sentence lingered in the air as the weight of Isaiah's fate settled over them. It's not just about this case, Lena. It reflects everything we've been fighting against. Suddenly, Alex's breath caught as he flipped to the next document. A deposition from Marcus, an employee who had dared to stand up to the system. This can't be real, Alex muttered, shock washing over him. This is connected to my father's company before he died. Lena's eyes widened as she said, then this isn't just a corporate cover-up. It's a web of deceit designed to protect Jack at all costs. We can't let this go. All at once, clarity struck. This was bigger than they imagined. This was the dark secret that linked them all. A history that had buried the truth beneath layers of corruption. With resolve igniting inside him, Alex whispered, we're onto something. We take this to every media outlet and make sure Jack pays. The hours rolled into days as they delved deeper, uncovering more evidence of Jack's malevolence. Each file revealed victims crushed under the weight of his power, each story fueling Alex's rage and determination. He stumbled across a series of legal battles, each more grotesque than the last, chronicling the lives that Jack had dismantled for his own gain. Look at this, Alex said, voice shaking with anger. These are employees who were fired just for speaking out about discrimination. They were labeled as troublemakers. Lena nodded, flipping through the pages. And here we thought we were alone in this battle. We need to compile these stories, show the world Jack's true colors. But with every page, the emotional toll intensified. One file stopped Alex cold. A deposition from Marcus, a voice with echoes of empathy that ran true to his own experiences. He didn't just lose his job, he lost everything because he chose honesty. Just like my dad. Alex's voice cracked. Did you know Marcus and your father had a history? Lena asked, her expression shifting from focus to concern, seeing the fire in Alex's eyes. I had no idea, Alex replied, his heart racing. But now, this isn't just about justice. It's personal. The realization struck him. The legacy of oppression that had haunted his family was now knife-edged clarity piercing through layers of resentment. As if the universe was conspiring against them, Lena's phone buzzed with a message. A video of Jack, behind the closed doors of the corporate office, surfaced on social media. The screen cracked with his voice, caught in unfiltered arrogance. We need to weed out the weak. We can't have their kind representing us. Fury turned into determination. This is it. A golden opportunity. We have to expose him. The world has to see the truth. Just as they began formulating a plan, Alex's phone vibrated with urgency. An unknown number. He hesitated, but something deep within nudged him to answer. Hello? He said, tension creeping into his voice. Alex, it's Marcus. I need to talk. It's urgent. They met at a local cafe, the aura brimming with quiet anticipation. Alex needlessly drummed his fingers against the table as he waited for Marcus, the anxiety palpable in the air. When Marcus arrived, his face was tense, eyes scanning the room as if he feared being followed. Thanks for meeting me, he said, dropping into a seat. What's going on? You said it was urgent. Alex leaned in, heartbeat echoing with dread. I know you've been digging into Jack's past, Marcus began, his voice low. I want you to know that my case isn't just a cautionary tale. I was fired for exposing the truth about Jack's corrupt practices. But it goes deeper than that. Alex's breath hitched. What do you mean? Don't you see? He covered up my termination to secure his position, but it's tied to something darker. Like your father, he had a hand in silencing me. We're connected, Alex. Your father and I were both victims of this same oppressive system, Marcus said, the weight of the words washing over them like cold water. I never knew, Alex whispered, realizing striking him like a lightning bolt. How can we fix this? Help others see the truth. This may not just affect us, Alex, Marcus said as he leaned closer. If we expose Jack, we may uncover more than just his corrupt practices. We might unearth a series of deaths and disappearances tied to his reign. He has been manipulating the game for too long. As they spoke, determination settled over them like armor. They were carving a path through the darkness, one that would expose the filth hiding beneath the corporate facade. But as Marcus rose to leave, a shadow crossed his face. Just be careful, Alex, I think someone close to us might be feeding Jack information, leading to your downfall. Who? Alex demanded, panic refilling the air. I don't know, but you have to trust no one yet. We're in the storm now. Steeling yourself for an inevitable confrontation is your best chance. As Marcus left, Alex felt the tension swell. Who could it be? As paranoia tightened its grip, he knew one thing. The battle for justice had just begun, and the enemy was already inside. The line between ally and adversary blurred dangerously close to home. Time felt limited. With each breath, karma's wheels were already in motion, ready to strike when least expected. Alex's heart raced as he entered the coffee shop, a mix of anxiety and anticipation tingling through him. He spotted Marcus seated at a corner table, fingers typing away on a laptop. Their eyes met, and for the first time since the chaos began, Alex felt a glimmer of hope. Hey, thanks for meeting me, Alex said, sliding into the seat opposite Marcus. Nice to finally connect in person, Marcus replied, shutting the laptop. I've heard a lot about the work you're doing. I'm just trying to make a difference, Alex replied, suppressing a smile. But I can't do it alone. I need someone with your skills to help expose Jack. Marcus leaned in, eyes lighting up. Tech can be a powerful weapon against corrupt systems. I've hacked into companies before, found hidden truths enough to bring them down. But it's about more than just the data. It's about empowering the oppressed. What's your plan? Alex asked, eager to hear more. I can infiltrate their servers and find any incriminating evidence. Emails, documents, anything that will tie Jack to his crimes. But we'll need to tread carefully. One wrong move, and we could end up in a lot of trouble. Alex nodded, feeling the tension of countless betrayals weighing on his shoulders. If we're doing this, I need to trust you completely. Hey, I'm on your side, Marcus assured him, sincerity flooding his voice. We're fighting the same fight. As they talked, Alex found himself warming up to Marcus's genuine passion. He felt a strange sense of camaraderie, and with that warmth came the realization of the uphill battle ahead. Together, we can expose Jack and stop him from ruining more lives. Are you in? Absolutely, Marcus replied, an enigmatic smile crossing his face. Let's shake the foundations of corruption. Later that week, as Alex and Marcus continued their investigation, they felt endless layers of pressure weighing heavily upon them. Just when they sensed a breakthrough, an all-too-familiar face entered the scene. Alex! Marcus! Lena exclaimed, rushing toward them, her energy matching theirs. I heard about you two working together. We need to join forces. Lena! Alex breathed, relief flooding him. We could use your help. Things are getting intense. I've been monitoring Jack's fall and his attempts to discredit you, Alex. We need to craft a strategy that hits hard and fast. She pulled out a notepad, her face lit with determination. Let's plan a public reveal, Marcus suggested. We can gather testimonies, personal stories from those affected by Jack's decisions, and create a powerful narrative. Absolutely, Lena agreed, scratching notes furiously. We'll show the world who Jack really is, an oppressive man hiding behind a corporate facade. But we need to ensure our safety. We can't back down, Alex asserted, his voice firm. This fight isn't just about our names. It's about everyone who has been silenced. As they brainstormed strategies, the gravity of their cause resonated throughout the group. They shared their experiences, binding their stories and fears together, creating a web of justice that they would unveil to the world. But even as hope ignited within their hearts, the shadows loomed larger. Alex's mind wandered to the precarious balance they were walking. We have to be careful. If Jack gets wind of this, Lena interrupted. Then we make sure he doesn't. We take this to the streets, rally the community. Together, we are stronger than we've ever been. It's dangerous, Marcus cautioned. But I believe we can force the truth into the light. We have no choice now. In agreement, they locked eyes, their resolve solidifying in that moment as they prepared to take on the colossal threat. Before them, as preparations commenced, ominous emails began flooding Alex's inbox, each one more threatening than the last. We know what you're up to. Stay out of it or face consequences. Read one that sent chills creeping up his spine. What do we do? He asked Lena and Marcus, dread knotting in his stomach. This is escalating quickly. We can't hide. We have to stay the course. Lena insisted, unwavering. But what if they find out? What if Jack uses this against us? Alex's voice trembled, conflicted between fear and resolve. Marcus leaned in closer, urgency in his eyes. We've been given the gift of knowledge. We're about to expose the darkest corners of this wretched system. We can do this, Alex. Together. Despite their growing anxiety, they could not ignore the echoes of bravery resonating through them. "We keep moving," Lena finally declared, igniting determination like a wildfire. "But we need to be cautious. We are under the microscope now." Just as they began to regain their focus, a jarring knock on the door shattered their moment. Alex's heart pounded painfully against his chest. Who could that be? The door creaked open slowly, revealing a familiar face. Alan, Alex's old friend. His features trembled with fear, a shocking contrast to his usual bravado. "Alex, I need to talk. It's about Jack. And your plan." The air thickened, tightening around Alex's throat. "What do you know?" "I've seen things I can't explain. Things I never wanted to believe about Jack. You have to be careful, man. Someone close is feeding him information. He's one step ahead, and you might not have the safety you think you do." "What do you mean?" Alex demanded, anxiety racing again. "You think I have a mole in my team?" Alan nodded, regret etched on his face. "You need to be vigilant. I don't want you getting hurt because of misguided trust." With every word that slipped from Alan's lips, the ground beneath them felt more unstable. Who could be working against them? A sense of urgency twisted in the air as they recognized that betrayal was lurking closer than they realized. Marcus led Alex and Lena into the office, their nerves crackling with anticipation. The dim lights cast long shadows as they navigated the maze of cubicles. "This is risky, but we have to find something that'll break Jack," Marcus whispered, the urgency in his voice palpable. "Let's keep it quick," Lena replied, scanning the area anxiously. "We don't have a lot of time." As they gathered near the server room, Marcus worked diligently, fingers flying over the keyboard. "I've done this before," he said, half to reassure them, half to ignite his own confidence. "Tech can be our greatest ally. It's how we dismantle their corruption piece by piece. Just keep an eye out," Alex added, his heart thumping loudly in his chest. With every moment spent here, they risked exposure to Jack's wrath. As Marcus accessed hidden files, the atmosphere turned electric. Alex peeked over his shoulder as lines of code formed into clear text, revealing Jack's dealings with shifty associates. Names, dates, tragic stories of employees who had dared to challenge his authority, only to be terminated or worse. "This is proof," Marcus said, his voice a mix of disbelief and elation. "Proof that Jack is orchestrating a system of oppression. We can use this." Just as adrenaline surged through Alex's veins, thoughts of his family crept back into focus. Sacrifices made, walls built, pain felt as they pushed through the uncertain world before them. Memories of his father's struggles called to him, reminding him of the weight of those who had fought before him. Suddenly, the sharp sound of footsteps echoed closer, slicing through the air. Panic struck. "Hide! Now!" Lena hissed, and they scrambled behind an empty cubicle just as the door creaked open. Heartbeats raced, thumping against Alex's chest like a chaotic drumline. Pinned against the wall, he could barely breathe, the reality of danger flooding in. "What are we doing?" he whispered urgently, his mind racing, wrestling with doubt. "Is this really worth it?" "You've fought too hard to back down now," Lena urged, her eyes softening. "Our fight is bigger than us. We're changing lives with this." As they crouched together, Alex glimpsed the path they were carving out. A world where people like his father wouldn't have to suffer the same injustices. But the harsh grip of fear tightened, rendering Alex's resolve momentarily frail. "If we get caught, everything ends here," he said. "Think about all the people affected." "That's worth the risk," Marcus whispered, fiercely determined. The footsteps continued, a reminder of systemic oppression, and for a fleeting moment, uncertainty threatened to consume him. But just as quickly, clarity pierced through the fog. This was their chance to extract justice. This was about more than just vengeance, it was about hope. "I'm in. Whatever it takes," Alex stated, his voice steady as he rose to his feet. "Let's finish what we started." The footsteps fade away, and they emerge from the hiding place, adrenaline coursing through their veins. Their mission had shifted. They were now a force poised to dismantle a corrupt system. With renewed determination, Alex and Marcus returned to the screen, excitement mingling with dread. They accessed a folder labeled Legal Matters, and as the contents unfolded, Alex's breath caught in his throat. "Holy!" Marcus gasped, disbelief etched across his features. They found files documenting every settlement, every employee who had dared speak out against Jack. "This is a nightmare come to life." Alex narrowed his gaze as he scrolled down. "Wait, what's this? A name keeps coming up. Isaiah Williams. They mentioned he died in a car crash after exposing corrupt dealings." Marcus's eyes widened. "That can't be a coincidence." He was the whistleblower? No, Alex interrupted, shaking his head as the pieces clicked together. He died shortly after this email chain regarding a large settlement. A pulse of dread settled in Alex's stomach. He could feel the weight of the injustice, like a shadow looming over his family. Jack orchestrated this to keep his secrets buried, he said sharply, the fury igniting a fire in his belly. This is poetic justice. He'll pay for this. As they read further, rage turned to clarity. This was the moment they could seize, one that could change everything. Each file they discovered echoed the haunting truth of the system that had failed them. We have to expose him before he can do anything to stop us, Lena warned, fear creeping into her voice. Agreed, Alex replied, his face set in determination. This doesn't just end with Jack. We expose the entire corrupt system. This isn't just for my father or Isaiah. It's for every soul lost in this vicious cycle. In that moment, they realized they weren't just searching for evidence. They were igniting a process capable of unearthing the truth buried within injustice. With each secret unearthed, they drew closer to the definitive blow that might finally yield justice. Their resolve crystallized, steeling themselves for the storm they were about to unleash. Alex paced in his apartment, gripping the evidence tightly. The adrenaline surged through him as he prepared to confront the true monster hidden behind their corporate walls. Deep down, though, a twinge of doubt gnawed at him. He needed to discuss the next steps with Alan, his best friend, the one person he thought he could trust completely. When Alan arrived, he appeared slightly off-kilter, his cheerful demeanor replaced by a strained smile. Hey man, what's up? Great news, Alex said enthusiastically, pulling out the files they had gathered. We found enough evidence to bring Jack down. Lena and Marcus are ready to help. This is it. Alan's expression stiffened for a moment before shifting back to forced enthusiasm. Oh wow, that's amazing, Alex. But are you sure you want to move forward with this? The risks, they're huge. What do you mean? Alex's brow furrowed, sensing the hesitation in Alan's voice. This is bigger than us. We have to keep fighting. Sure. But what if Jack retaliates? Alan pressed, his eyes wandering. It could ruin everything we've built. Are you willing to risk it all? Alex shrugged off his discomfort, believing in the vision of justice they had all dedicated themselves to. Of course, we can't stop now. We owe this to everyone who suffered injustice. Alan, can't you see that? Right? Justice? Alan echoed, though his tone suggested something deeper was brewing beneath the surface. I get it. Just be careful, okay? With every few words, Alex felt an unsettling inkling that Alan's loyalty was wavering, yet he dismissed it, chalking it up to fear. As they parted, Alex's resolve hardened. There could be no turning back. Tension thickened the air in the following days as plans evolved and tempers simmered. Alex felt the pressure mount with each passing moment, unknowingly walking into a storm seeded by Alan's jealousy. When Alex received a text from an anonymous number warning him that someone close was leaking information, an icy shiver ran down his spine. Could it be true? His pulse quickened as paranoia set in. He arranged to meet Marcus and Lena, wanting to fortify their plans and establish trust between them. Before he could share what he learned, Alex caught Alan lingering nearby, anxiety flickering subtly behind his facade. I hope you're not telling them everything, Alan said, stepping closer. You don't want to broadcast your moves. Jack has ears everywhere. That night, Alex wrestled with the unease creeping over him, the nagging suspicion pulsating more intensely than ever. Somehow, Alan was linked to this. How could he not be? The next day, Alex confronted Alan about the tip-off. Was it you? Are you working with Jack? The accusation hung in the air, sharp and unwelcome. What? Are you kidding? I've always had your back. Alan snapped back, though Alex could see the flicker of something deceitful in his eyes. But fear sharpened Alex's instincts. The stakes had risen too high. He decided to lay low and keep his cards close to his chest. Moments later, after a few covert glances, Marcus revealed he'd seen Alan chatting with Jack on surveillance footage. Why the hell would he be talking to him? Alex's heart raced, realization cascading over him like icy water. This isn't good, man. We need to know where his loyalties lie, Marcus warned, and anger surged within Alex. As accusations piled up, Alan's betrayal began to form a dark cloud over their plans, and suddenly, the battle felt far more precarious. Was his best friend now a ticking time bomb of betrayal? The confrontation came at last when Alex could no longer ignore the turmoil brewing within their circle. He found Alan alone in a cafe, simmering with barely contained frustration. Why, Alan? Alex demanded, confronting him directly. Why would you betray me? We were in this together. Alan smirked, tightening the grip around his coffee cup. You really thought you could start a revolution without consequences? You're a naive fool, Alex. You had what it takes to win, but you let ambition cloud your judgment. You're reckless. Reckless? I'm fighting for justice, Alex yelled, incredulity coursing through his veins. You are the one who's been feeding Jack information. I did what I had to do to protect myself. Alan shot back, rising abruptly. Weren't you paying attention? You might get us all killed, and I'm not ready to be collateral damage for your deluded quest. He snickered. The mask cracked wide open. The betrayal felt like a physical blow, and Alex's world shifted in that moment. He had trusted Alan with his fears, hopes, and dreams, only for him to reveal the depths of his cowardice. Guess what, buddy? He retorted, his voice low and dangerous. You just signed your own death warrant. I will expose Jack and you too. As Alan stormed away, Alex's resolve lit up like wildfire, propelling him to cement his plans. Alan had underestimated him, but now he would harness that pain as fuel to ignite the fight for justice. In a story woven with layers of deceit, he would emerge not just for himself, but for all who had suffered unfairly. Little did they know, karma was already rising to even the scales, and betrayal was a flame that burned brightly even on the darkest of nights. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting the city in shades of amber and crimson, Alex stood at the front of a crowded hall, heart racing with purpose. Lena had organized a public meeting for local activists, community members, and leaders, a gathering that buzzed with a mix of anxiety and hope. Thank you all for being here, Alex began, his voice wavering at first, then gaining strength. We're here to push back against the corruption that Jack Thompson embodies, a corruption that has silenced too many voices. He glanced around the room, meeting the eyes of those who had gathered, each carrying their own burdens of pain and injustice. I felt that pain. It's reminded me of my father, who fought to stand tall in a world designed to keep him down. We can't let that happen anymore. The crowd murmured, the energy shifting as shared stories spread like wildfire. A woman stood up, her voice trembling. I lost my job because I spoke out against harassment in the office. They made me the villain for wanting to be treated equally. Maya, your truth is our truth, Alex shouted back, igniting the room. This isn't just about us. This is about a system that dismisses our stories. We're the change, and together we will be heard. More voices rose in defiance, tales of discrimination intertwined, forming a tapestry of collective experience. Alex felt the swell of energy move through the crowd, turning from individuals to a unified front. Let us make ourselves loud enough that Jack cannot ignore us. We need to demand accountability. With each story shared, Alex could feel the tidal wave of resistance building, igniting their spirit. The crowd erupted into chants, fists raised in unity. Justice, equality, our voices matter. The roar of solidarity surged, stoking Alex's fire further. He had only begun to realize that their struggle wasn't just a fight against one man. It was a battle against the status quo. Days blurred into nights as meetings became more frequent. Alex, Lena, and Marcus organized their group, solidifying alliances and gathering testimonies from those who had been wronged by Jack's regime. Each story shared was a piece of a puzzle that painted the picture of systemic oppression built upon fear and silence. Every voice is a dagger you can throw at the heart of their corruption, Marcus urged during a strategy session. With each testimony, we build our shield and sword simultaneously. In front of an eager audience, Alex passionately delivered, speech after speech, igniting flames of conviction with every word he spoke. If we unite, we can topple the structures that have kept us down. We can create a future where justice prevails. The energy in the room was electric, tangible. A sense of unity washed over them as they stood shoulder to shoulder, igniting their resolve into action. People began to chant, collecting signatures for a petition to demand accountability from Jack and his company. Let's take this to the streets, Lena called out, her voice a beacon of empowerment. We will march until our voices are heard, until Jack can no longer hide in the shadows of his empire. As they organized the plans for the march, Alex received distressing news. Anonymous threats began trickling into his phone, urging him to stop the movements or face dire consequences. Each message sent chills racing down his spine, raising the stakes of their mission. Fear is a tool they use to silence us, Marcus asserted, anger pulsing through him. We'll turn their threats into our battle cry. Every signature, every voice, every march. They will learn injustice can no longer be tolerated. With tension rising like a storm cloud, Alex realized they had entered a realm where chaos could erupt at any moment. But they were undeterred, fueled by the passion surging through each member of their community. The momentum felt unstoppable. Their cries grew louder, echoing out into the night, foreshadowing an inevitable confrontation with not only Jack but a system that had long been rigged against them. The stage was set for a showdown, one that promised not only change but also karma for those who had long evaded it. In the war room-like atmosphere of the conference room, Alex sat at the head of the table, surrounded by his legal team. The air buzzed with urgency as they reviewed the mounting evidence against Jack. Papers were strewn about, and the palpable tension mirrored their urgency. From the testimonies we've gathered, it's clear Jack has been exploiting his position for years, one attorney stated, placing a document in front of Alex. Look at this pattern of behavior. There's a correlation between layoffs and complaints. This demonstrates a systematic attempt to silence anyone who challenges him. I've seen the impact of his actions firsthand, Alex replied, his voice steady, the weight of his family's struggles sitting heavily on his shoulders. Each of these testimonies represents a life affected by his greed. This is not just a case. It's a fight for justice. Another lawyer interjected, but we need to prepare for the onslaught. Jack's attorney will paint him in a favorable light. We must be ready for the inevitable attempts to discredit your character and those of our witnesses. I'm prepared, Alex said, steeling himself. We have to dismantle this corrupt system that protects people like Jack. This is about far more than just me. It's about those who've been silenced. Eyes glimmering with determination, they all nodded in agreement. An empowered resolve set between them. They were on the precipice of a fight that extended far beyond a courtroom. But as Alex looked around, something gnawed at him. A feeling of impending dread. The stakes were massive, and he couldn't shake the sense that they might be stepping into a trap every moment they engaged with the system that had wronged them. The courtroom felt electric as the trial commenced. The jury watched with rapt attention, the vibrant whispers of anticipation stilling as Jack's attorney rose to present his case. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, he began, his tone dripping with confidence. You'll hear from my client how erroneous accusations have cost him dearly, an upstanding citizen wrongfully vilified. Alex clenched his jaw, readying himself. The attorney painted Jack's picture of a benevolent leader, deflecting blame that rightfully belonged to him. This is not a case about corporate corruption, but rather a man's reputational destruction by a few disgruntled employees. As Alex took the stand, he felt the weight of the world pressing down on him. I'm not here to destroy a man. I'm here to expose a system that has silenced so many before, he declared fiercely. When he recounted personal stories of the victims, voices of the marginalized spilling forth, he felt a powerful connection with the jury. Just then, Alan was called to testify, and Alex's stomach twisted. Alan, you know Alex is behind this, stirring chaos, Jack's attorney prodded, igniting the tension in the room. He's the reason this has escalated. Stop it, Alex shouted, anguish pouring through him. Alan, don't do this. It's not what you think, Alan stumbled, panic etching his features. The room buzzed, eyes darting between them. I'm just trying to protect myself. But before Alan could shelve his excuses, a surprising voice rang out through the courtroom. Marcus stepped forward. I have evidence to share, Your Honor, he stated. Boldly, gasps echoed as the courtroom shifted uneasily. Who are you? The judge demanded. I used to work for Jack, Marcus proclaimed, gathering steam. I witnessed numerous ethical violations, and I know how he manipulates his power to keep the truth hidden. I also know about the suspicious circumstances surrounding the death of Isaiah Williams. The room went silent, the tension electric. Alex's heart raced. This was a game changer. As the truth hung in the air, Jack's expression morphed from confidence to alarm. Objection, he shouted. But the judge held up a hand, absorbing the impact of this revelation. In that critical moment, everything shifted. The narrative flipped on its head as Jack's facade began to crumble. With a deep breath, the judge called for a recess, the charged atmosphere buzzing as witnesses shuffled out. Alex felt empowerment rising within him, but he also sensed Jack's looming threat. Jack leaned across the table, fury etched into his features. You think you've won? This isn't over. I'll make sure you regret this. Threats won't stop this. Alex shot back, heart pounding at the raw audacity of their confrontation. The truth will come out, no matter what you try to hide. As they left the courtroom, adrenaline coursed through Alex's veins. He felt invigorated, fueled by the knowledge that they had just fired a shot across Jack's bow. But he remained cautious. Jack's next move could be unpredictable. Later that night, As Alex scrolled through the news updates about the trial, he noticed a new article appear, headlined, "Corruption at the Top? Jack Thompson's Empire Under Fire." The surge of media interest sent a wave of hope through him. But the high was short-lived. A chilling text buzzed on his phone, drawing the air from his lungs. "Stop exposing Jack or the people you love will pay. Remember Isaiah." The words punched him right in the gut, sparking a cold dread that coursed through his veins. The threats hadn't just escalated. They had become personal. False hope and determination morphed into a swirling tempest of fear as he realized the danger was closing in. With courage boiling in his chest, Alex typed a reply into his phone. "I won't back down. Justice is coming." And at that moment, he knew the fight had to continue, not just for himself, but for every victim drowned beneath the weight of oppression. They were on the brink of something monumental, one that would either lead them to liberation or ensnare them in Jack's trap. But with each heartbeat echoing with hope and fear, it became clearer. Karma had its way, and it was about to strike back hard. As the trial progressed, the stakes grew perilously high, but victory felt tantalizingly close. Alex sat surrounded by his legal team, the determination in their eyes echoing his resolve. Yet, just as they began to feel the warmth of potential success, Jack launched a vicious counterattack. "Ladies and gentlemen, what we have here is a series of unhinged accusations from an unstable individual," Jack's attorney declared, his voice smooth as silk, cutting through the tension of the courtroom. "Alex Rodriguez, a man with a questionable past. A man who has shown a propensity for dishonesty." Alex felt his heart drop. "What lies is Jack spinning now?" he whispered to Marcus, sitting beside him. "He knows I've got him cornered. Let them throw mud." "It won't stick," Marcus replied, a confident glint in his eyes. But the attorney continued, unveiling evidence that portrayed Alex as nothing more than a disgruntled employee. Bitter after being sidelined, he argued, "This is not about justice. It's about revenge." The courtroom buzzed with hushed whispers as Alex clenched his fists, tension unfurling within him. The pressure mounted with every twisted word, and he could feel paranoia creeping in. If they could cast doubt on his character, it could shatter everything they'd built. And just as fears began to spiral, ominous messages started to flood Alex's phone. "Stop spreading lies or your loved ones will suffer," one chilling text warned. "We know who you are. This isn't just about the trial anymore," Alex said, dread pooling in his stomach. "Jack's going after my family." "Stay strong, Alex," Lena soothed, but the shadows of uncertainty loomed. "We'll expose his lies. Can we trust anyone? Is Alan still working with Jack?" Marcus questioned, glancing around nervously, uncertainty stirring in their group. As paranoia began to seep through every decision, the line between truth and deception blurred, pushing Alex to navigate a sea of shifting loyalties. Jack was not just fighting for his reputation, he was fighting for survival, and that meant resorting to anything to keep his power. Desperation clawed at Alex as he delved deeper into research, scouring through any connections that could unveil Jack's true nature. Each sleepless night bled into the next, driving him closer to the limits of his endurance. But just when fatigue threatened to overcome him, a lead emerged, threads that hinted at a much darker tapestry. "Marcus, look at this," Alex shouted, eyes wide with a mix of dread and exhilaration. "Jack's not just a corrupt CEO, he's tied to systemic fraud. I found records of payouts, hush money to cover up discrimination claims that date back for years." As Marcus leaned closer, realization flickered on his face. If we can verify this, it would demolish his whole defense. This is their Achilles heel. But even as victory felt within reach, Alex grappled with the dawning horror. This wasn't just a corporate scandal. It was a web of racism entwined with corruption. Every name, every allegation echoed the painful truths of countless victims. They moved quickly, ready to reveal the evidence. "We need to go public, from social media to the press," Alex urged, fervent. "We'll ignite the conversation about corporate racism." However, as Alex prepared for a public announcement, the atmosphere thickened with anxiety. The community erupted in outrage as word got out, sparking protests and heated discussions. The walls of Jack's empire began to shake. Then, the unexpected happened. Jack found out about their research before they could unveil it. In hindsight, it was simple enough for him to monitor dissenters, an unholy alliance of power and fear. When his attorney attacked Alex's character in the heat of backlash, Alex knew they were facing dire consequences. Suddenly, Alex received an urgent call. A local journalist wanted to expose Jack's crimes. "I have contacts willing to speak on the record," the frantic voice said. "But you need to act fast. Jack's looking to shut this down and will stop at nothing. As the line disconnects, Alex gasped. They had reached the tipping point. The whirlwind was no longer just a personal battle but a communal uprising. A force of change fueled by righteous anger. Just as hope surged through him, cracks began to form. Alan was seen at Jack's office earlier that day, a sight that left Alex rooted in disbelief. The fabric of trust began to unravel, revealing not just the fight against Jack but the truth about betrayal among those he called allies. "Can I trust anyone?" Alex murmured through gritted teeth, the weight of the fight shifting ever more dangerously. He understood now it wasn't just the system he was battling. It was the very perceptions and lies that had enabled it to thrive. And one way or another they would come crashing down, likely taking everyone with them. As the dust settled from the trial, the implications of the verdict rippled through the corporate world like thunder. News headlines screamed of Jack Thompson's corruption, painting Alex as a champion of justice. Felt surreal, like a dream morphing into reality. "Alex, can you believe this?" Lena said, excitement illuminating her face as she watched the TV. The news anchor declared, "A young activist takes on the corporate giant. Justice served." With each passing hour, the community began to rally around Alex. He became a beacon of hope in their fight against systemic racism. "This is just the beginning," he declared at a community gathering, driven by the overwhelming support surrounding him. "We've proven that voices like ours matter and can bring about change." Soft whispers of pride echoed throughout the crowd. People stood shoulder to shoulder, feeling intertwined in a collective strength, ready to demand equity in their workplaces. Alex, amidst the cheers, felt the weight of responsibility settle on his shoulders. But with victory came bitter reminders of the battle fought. Each face reflected a story of struggle, and as their eyes found him, he felt the collective history of their oppression pulsating beneath the surface. "We will create a future where no one else has to endure what we've faced," he vowed. As the days rolled on, discussions of diversity and inclusivity permeated the community. Town hall meetings erupted with voices echoing for reform, igniting conversations that had long been silenced. Alex felt rejuvenated by every triumphant cheer, every story shared. In the midst of progress, uncertainty lurked at the periphery. "Your victory doesn't mean he's gone for good," Marcus warned one evening, tension woven into his tone. "Jack is shrewd. He'll regroup and may strike when we least expect it." "I know," Alex admitted, glancing at the gathering of supporters around them. "But we won't let fear stop us. We've opened the door to change, and we'll push through." Yet, as the community flourished, Alan's absence loomed heavier than Alex anticipated. They needed to be vigilant. The lurking threat of betrayal could destroy everything they'd fought to establish. Days passed, and whispers of Alan's whereabouts faded into an unsettling silence. The victory that once felt invigorating now had an edge of trepidation, buried under layers of doubt that Alex couldn't shake. Then the first domino fell. "Have you guys noticed how quiet Alan's been lately?" Marcus asked one afternoon. The three of them gathered for coffee, tension lurking beneath each word spoken. "Too quiet," Lena echoed. "It's almost as if he vanished." The next day, Alex received an anonymous message on his phone. "There are truths about Alan you don't know. Betrayal is closer than you think." The words dripped with ambiguity but struck a chord of fear deep within him. "Maybe we need to confront him," Alex suggested, but uncertainty tainted his resolve. Days later, Alan finally emerged, his demeanor guarded as if he was a dancer teetering on the precipice. "Alex, can we talk?" "About what?" Alex replied, brow furrowing as he sensed Alan's unease. "About everything. I've made mistakes," Alan began, each word heavy with the intangible weight of his guilt. "I panicked during the trial. Jack, he knows how to manipulate people and I fell for it." "What did you do?" Alex felt the stirrings of betrayal squeeze around his chest. "I told Jack about your plans. He threatened me. I didn't know what else to do. I thought I could help calm things down, keep you out of danger." "That's just it. You put us all in danger, Alan," Alex shouted, anger surging through him like icy fire. In that moment, Alan's true colors shone bright. The very person Alex had trusted had faltered at the first sign of danger. "I thought we were friends. I fought for all of us. You didn't hold true when it mattered most. Alex, please, I can help you make things right. I heard Jack is planning to take legal action against you for defamation. You need me." Alan's eyes sought sympathy, but distrust placed armor on Alex's heart. "Help? You mean feeding Jack information?" Alex spat. "This isn't about loyalty to me, Alan. This is about you trying to save your own skin. Maybe I was scared. Maybe I just wanted to survive," Alan retorted, desperation creeping into his voice. Survive? At the cost of everyone else. Alex pressed, feeling the riptide of sadness and anger collide within. Your betrayal creates more pain in the world. We could have fought together. Alex, get out. You're not the friend I thought you were, Alex declared, shaking his head as he turned away, gutted by this revelation. As Alan exited, a sense of clarity emerged, followed by the creeping sensation of apprehension. That familiar weight of fear pulled at him, a darkness lurking just out of view. The enemy had not just been Jack, but one who had been allowed close enough to stab him in the back. In the following moments, Alex vowed to push forward. But now, every shadow felt amplified. Every whisper carried the weight of betrayal. Determined to safeguard his mission, and the community hanging on his words, he once more prepared to charge into the fray. Little did Alex know that the circle of betrayal spun even wider, and as he navigated this storm of deceit, the repercussions would be severe and swift. As the sun dipped below the horizon, Alex sat in a dimly lit room, illuminated only by the glow of his laptop screen. He felt a surge of adrenaline and urgency as he typed furiously, crafting a message for his social media followers. We are demanding justice. Jack Thompson's corruption and systemic racism will no longer remain in the shadows. Join us. Within minutes, the post had exploded with engagement. Likes, shares, and angry comments filled the screen as people rallied behind his words. Together we can create a movement for change, he posted, feeling a swell of hope. Look at the numbers, Lena exclaimed, her voice a mix of excitement and disbelief. It's like a digital revolution. All these testimonials are pouring in too, Alex replied, eyes shining with determination. People are coming forward, sharing their experiences under Jack's regime. As videos of protests and community members speaking out flooded their timeline, the momentum grew, building into a tidal wave that thoroughly engulfed Jack's corporate facade. Testimonials of pain and resilience accumulated. Each video was another blow against the silencing forces of the past. This is bigger than we thought, Marcus added, excitement lighting up his features. Alex, your name is becoming synonymous with this fight. You're a symbol of diversity and resistance now. Alex felt a rush at the thought, but even amid the triumph, a twinge of caution nagged at him. Let's hope this doesn't draw too much attention to us. Jack has a million ways to retaliate. But the online world had caught fire. News networks, streaming channels, and social media influencers began joining the movement, amplifying the message and putting pressure on corporations to take a stand. As interviews flooded in, Alex realized they were on the cusp of igniting systemic reform, a crusade against the decay of ethics in corporate America. Suddenly, Alex's phone buzzed with notifications as the hashtags #JusticeForAlex and #ExposeJack surged across platforms. The tide was shifting and it felt monumental. But with that shift came shadows. The storm clouds of awareness began to gather. As the revelations about Jack's past unraveled before the public eye, his empire began to tremble. People held signs outside his corporate headquarters, chanting for accountability, while news anchors dissected his fall from grace. Jack, you can't let this happen, his assistant urged, panic setting in as she handed him the latest headlines splashed across their digital landscape. You need to quash this uprising. Quashing this? It's already out of control, Jack thundered, his face flushed with anger. He slammed his fist on the desk, startling her. Those bastards have put me in their crosshairs. In a frantic attempt to salvage his reputation, he arranged a press conference. Standing at the podium, he put on a mask of strained calm as cameras rolled. My company has always prioritized ethical practices and diversity, he declared, faltering as murmurs rustled the crowd. The information circulating is misleading. I will not be slandered by baseless accusations. But the tide had turned. Anchors and reporters dissected every statement, closely examining the growing evidence against him. Companies began to distance themselves, pulling sponsorships and investments left and right, leaving Jack's financial foundation crumbling beneath him. That's it. I will not go down like this. Jack spat, his mind racing. He clicked through emails and messages, looking for allies. But one by one, his contacts had vanished. Each call met with excuses and silence, revealing just how isolated he had become in his greed. As backlash surged across social media, the fallout grew severe. I can't believe this, his assistant whispered, partially in shock, scanning the headlines. Companies are cutting ties. Your empire is collapsing. Shut them up, he yelled, a cold sweat creeping down his back. Those people are lying. They're trying to take everything from me. But as whispers of his unethical practices seeped through corporate and legal channels, the walls began to close in. Federal investigators launched probes into his dealings, and sponsorship contracts dwindled as board members started avoiding him like the plague. The laughter and power that once filled Jack's life dissipated. It became a dark comedy of errors, where the puppet master had been puppet by his own greed and disregard. In that desperate moment, as Jack faced dismal internal chaos, he realized he had sealed his own downfall. The same system he had manipulated for personal gain was unraveling right before him, exposing not just the lies he crafted but the sheer depth of his broken legacy. With every storm cloud overhead, Alex readied himself for the inevitable confrontation. Karma had kicked in, and the ramifications of Jack's actions were now roaring back with a vengeance. The atmosphere thickened in the conference room as Jack entered, feigning a composed demeanor. "Alex," he began, his tone disarmingly cordial. "I think we can come to an understanding. Let's talk about how we can move forward from this ordeal." Alex shot a look at Lena and Marcus, standing resolute by his side. "Let's talk? Like you're not the one who created this mess." Alex replied, unwavering. "You think this is just behind us? You've manipulated and hurt too many lives for that to just disappear. Come on, we used to be friends," Jack insisted, desperation creeping into his voice. "This can't be the end of it all. You were always ambitious. A part of me thought you'd want to work with me, not against me." "Ambition?" Alex scoffed, his determination merging with disbelief. "Is that what you call your manipulation and lies? You should know better than to test me now after what you've done." Jack's eyes flashed, a crack in his cool facade, but Alex pressed on, declaring, "I have evidence connecting you to rampant discrimination, corruption, and even the suspicious deaths of those who dared to stand against you." A flicker of fear darted across Jack's face as he realized the precarious edge of his circumstances. He attempted to regain control, but Alex threw down the card that held the key to their fate, a damning document obtained from the depths of Jack's own corruption. "Do you think I'd pull any punches now?" Alex challenged, firm in his conviction. "This isn't just about what you've done to me. It's about everything you've perpetuated. The legacy of pain will end here." Jack smirked, clinging to his bravado, but his heart raced behind a mask of arrogance. "You wouldn't dare go public with that," he sneered, but the unease in his demeanor betrayed him. "It's too late for hiding," Lena chimed in, her voice a clarion of empowerment. "The world is ready to know who you truly are. Karma isn't on your side, Jack." With that declaration, the room felt surcharged with tension. The winds were shifting, and Alex's conviction shined brighter than any negotiation could dim. Jack was cornered, but the only question left remained: whether he'd keep fighting or retreat into the shadows from which he had manipulated for so long. The tension in the air was heavy as Jack's superficial bravado faltered. "This isn't how it has to end," he insisted, trying to regain the reins of the conversation. "We could handle this in-house. You'll all be sorry for this." "Sorry?" Alex interrupted defiantly. "Sorry is what you've done to so many lives. And now you want to sweep it all under the rug because you're scared." Jack's expressions shifted, revealing vulnerability beneath all the arrogance. "I'm not scared, Alex. I'm practical. You're about to make a huge mistake," he warned, but Alex stood firm, ready to dismantle the twisted lies sewn together over years of deception. As the words hung in the air, an uneasy silence engulfed them. Suddenly, the sound of commotion outside the building broke through, and Alex's heart raced. He opened the window slightly, peering out to see a gathering crowd. Protesters holding signs demanding accountability were marching right to his doorstep. "The people are rising," he exclaimed, hope swirling, brightening the potential for real change. Jack sensed his impending doom. Desperate measures clung to the edge of his mind. "You can't win this, Alex. I have connections. You'll regret this." He spat, but Alex stood tall, channeling every ounce of pain and strength into his conviction. And then it happened. Unexpectedly, viewers on live news began to flood in, their cameras zooming in on the tension. Jack's connections, his allies, started turning their backs. "Look around you," Alex breathed heavily, feeling the tide shift for real. "Your empire is crumbling. You're being exposed for who you truly are." Suddenly, a voice pierced through the chaos. "Jack Thompson. Everyone's waiting for the truth." It was the journalist who had been covering the story closely, and the words seemed to amplify the voices of the crowd outside. Jack's face grew pale, realization dawning upon him like a bitter winter chill. The media was turning against him, and the pressure was too great. Panic shattered his poise, and he bolted from the room. "Run all you want, Jack," Alex yelled after him, the remnants of his past haunting him. Karma is a powerful force that always finds a way to expose the truth. It's finally time for you to face judgment. As the realization washed over Alex, he felt the warmth of community enveloping him, the spirit of justice swirling around tightly knit bonds of solidarity. The once untouchable figure was now fleeing from his shadows. The people forgotten were rising, reclaiming their narratives. Jack Thompson was no longer just a predator. He was now running into the very storm he created, a poetic justice that would cement his downfall. Alex's heart swelled with pride as they began to demand accountability from their oppressor, ready to shatter the chains of oppression that had bound them for far too long. What goes around always finds a way to come back, and for Jack, that reckoning has finally arrived.